Hi, I'm Gigi. Welcome to Venice Beach Yoga. Today we're going to actually start standing. We're going to work on some standing poses. I'm here with Lauren and Casey. So you'll have 2 blocks available. Also a strap is good for some stretches that we'll do at the end of practice. So first I just want to take a moment to go over Tadasana, which is our basic standing pose. You can think of it as like the blueprint for all of our poses. Tadasana mountain pose. So we'll take a moment. I want everyone just to bring your awareness to your feet. We don't always pay attention to that much attention to our feet, but here, all of your awareness, I want you to really spread through the 4 corners of your feet. Okay, and Casey's moving around back and forth. That's actually good because sometimes you want to see, like, where am I on my feet? Do I need to shift forward? Do I need to shift back to be in balance? So you can try that. And then start to do this. Lift your inner arches. And then also draw your outer ankles all the way to your outer hips. And when you start to do this, you're like, oh, wow. You probably notice one or the other is stronger. So, for instance, if your inner arches are not as strong, really focus on lifting the inner arches of your feet. If you feel like your outer ankles are not as strong, then focus on the outer ankles. And actually here, both of them are outer ankles drawing up people. So both of you all will work that. Firm your thighs. You're going to feel your hamstrings and quads lifting. You're going to press your thigh bones towards the back of the room and lengthen your tailbone to your heels. Okay, and then when you're ready, you're going to take a deep inhale and lift navel to sternum and really broaden your collarbones. Good, and on your exhale, you're going to soften your shoulders away from your ears. It's a really gentle adjustment. And this is kind of a cool technique. So without lifting your head at all, you just want to shift the back of your head to be right in line with your heels. And that's going to make you feel actually usually a little lighter. Do you feel lighter when you do that? You get a little taller, a little lighter. So back of your head, right in line with the back of your heels. This is Tadasana. You can practice it in the grocery store line or just whenever you feel like it. So we're going to start to move on now. Fingertips together. And when you're ready, I'd like you to inhale and step your feet wide towards the Buddha. So nice wide stance towards the Buddha. Okay? So at home, you can go any direction where you can actually see the TV, computer. Okay? So first take a moment, bring your arms out wide. I'd like you just to see that your feet are directly under your wrist. Your feet are as wide as your wrist. If you need to lengthen or shorten your stance, go ahead and do so now. Make sure your feet are parallel. Then bring your hands back to your hips. Okay, right to hips. Bend your right knee, and from deep in your hip, externally rotate so that your foot is facing towards, the wall. And then you're going to start to sink your front leg down to a 90-degree angle as you resist your back leg away from the ground. Okay, warrior 2. We're going to do the first one with our hands to hips because there's already a lot going on in the legs without adding the arms. Okay, so first, I'd like you to make sure that you have heel to arch alignment. So you might check it out, maybe walking your front foot, so that your heel makes a straight line with your back arch. Revolve your front sitting bone or your front glute underneath you so that your knee tracks in line with your second toe. Okay, and I'd like you to press the thigh bone of your back leg to your hamstring. Beautiful. These look great. Okay, and so from here, I'm just going to encourage you to firm your back hip in so that the crown of your head's right over the base of your spine. And then let's inhale, add arms. Okay, stretch your arms out wide. Gaze out over your front middle finger. Next, exhale, hands back to hips. Inhale, slowly straighten your front leg. And then I'd like you to parallel your feet, so you'll internally rotate your right leg. Okay, and then start to bend your left knee, and from deep in your hip, externally rotate. Okay, you want to make sure your heel to arch, your front heel is in a direct line with your back arch. And you're going to sink your front thigh down towards the ground. So like more or less towards a 90-degree angle. You'll feel your front glute draw underneath you so that your knee tracks right with your second toe. Thigh bone of your back leg will press to your hamstring. Okay. Take a deep inhale, like we did in Tadasana. You're going to lift navel to sternum. And you're going to exhale. For a couple of you, I want you to wrap your left ribs forward and your right ribs back a little bit. Okay, opening up your torso. When you're ready, arms out wide. Just take one more breath here with the arms. Good. And then slowly straighten your leg. Bring your hands to your hips. And parallel your feet. Great, warrior 2. So we're going to do that one more time and we'll add on. So you're going to bend your right knee and from deep in your hip, externally rotate. Make sure your heel to arch. Make sure your front foot is straight ahead. And you're going to sink your front thigh down to the ground. Okay, so front sit bone is going to draw underneath you. Thigh bone and back leg to hamstring. Turn your back toes in a little bit more, honey. There you go, good. Next inhale, you're going to reach your arms out wide. Good, so this, I know for me, this is like the hardest part of Warrior Two is holding my arms out. So I want you to really firm your arms. Don't let them just sort of hang. Really firm your arms. And make sure the back arm is just as lifted as the front arm. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. And the drishti, your gaze, is out over your front middle finger. So you're going to soften your shoulders a little bit, darling. There you go. Warrior Two is a great pose to build strength in your legs, your core, also your mind. It's said to build tenacity and focus. 2 more breaths. Good. Inhale, slowly straighten your front leg. Bring your hands to your hips, please. Bend your right knee parallel your feet. Left leg from deep in your hip externally rotates. Make sure your heel to arch. Front foot straight ahead. Back toes turning in slightly. And then you're going to go ahead and sink your front thigh down to the ground. Draw your front sitting bone underneath you towards the Buddha. Press the thigh bone of your back leg to your hamstring. And when you're ready, inhale, add your arms. Reach your arms out wide. Crown of your head right over the base of your spine. Belly drawing in. Okay, and then just focusing on your breathing. Okay, in time also, even though it doesn't necessarily seem like it when you're practicing it, it's actually opening up your hips as well. So when you really allow yourselves to bend deeply in the front leg and you pull the inner thigh of your back leg away from the ground, it becomes a hip opener as well. Please inhale, slowly straighten your front leg. Good. And then hands to hips on your exhale. Parallel your feet. You can heel toe your feet a little closer together. And then fingertips together, exhale to step or jump your feet back together, whichever one you prefer. Nice, okay, good. Tree pose is next, Vrikshasana. So if you feel like you need a wall for balance, that's fine. Steady gazing point. Okay, when you're ready, you're gonna lift your right leg, and Lauren's gonna externally rotate and bring her foot onto her inner calf. Okay, and Casey's gonna go high up to the inner thigh. And just for a moment, let's have hands to hips. Just for a moment. Once you find your steadiness, have your hands to your hips. Bring your right hip forward. In a lot of cases, you have to bring your right leg forward so that your right hip is just as far forward as your left. So I'm going to have you bring your right hip forward a little bit more, if possible. Okay, you're going to firm your left hip into the center line of your body. Press your standing leg thigh bone back and lengthen your tailbone into your body. When you're ready, I'd like you to bring your arms up. You don't have to, but if you feel like you're steady enough, bring your arms up. And if you come out of this pose, just always feel free. Just come back in when you're ready. Triceps, outer shoulder blades revolve towards your face, navel to spine. Good. And then bring your knee back to center. Release your arms, bring your right foot down next to your left, and just stand Tadasana, hands by your sides. Good. Okay, so second side. Whenever you're ready, lift your left leg, externally rotate from deep in your hip. Bring your foot either to your inner calf or to your inner thigh. Firm your right hip in. A couple of you like to bring your left hip forward. Let it release down towards the ground. Good. You can stay right here, or you can add your arms. Wrap your triceps and outer shoulder blades close to your face, navel to spine. So this pose is really great for building focus. It strengthens your feet. It strengthens your legs. Anytime you're balancing, you're strengthening your core. Okay. Also a good pose to do if you're feeling like you need to mentally calm your mind. Beautiful. Okay, so now Casey's just going to bring hands to heart and then hands down. Please bring your knee back to center and release your left foot down next to your right. Okay, so now you'll have your 2 blocks, and I have the blocks set up for Lauren and Casey. You're going to make sure your blocks are to either side of your mat. And when you're ready, you're going to bring your fingertips together and now step your feet wide apart. And this time I'm going to say have your feet about as wide as the center of your forearms. And you can bring your arms out to measure. Good. So actually, yeah, shorten a little bit. Beautiful. Good. And then think you to bend your right knee, and from deep in your hip, externally rotate as we did earlier. Make sure your heel to arch. So check that out first. And you can put just a little micro bend in your knee. Draw your front sitting bone underneath you so the knee tracks with your second toe. And then keeping that alignment, press through the big toe of your front foot. Inhale, slowly straighten your front leg. Good. Take a deep inhale. And when you're ready, you're going to hinge from your hips. So really draw your front sitting bone towards the back of your mat. Reach, reach, reach. When you can't reach anymore, your hand will come down on the block outside of your front foot. You can always have your hand on the shin as well. Good. Arms in a straight line. Beautiful. You're going to lengthen your tailbone into your body. Yeah, that'll actually help to open up your lower back a little bit. It's called a Trikonasana. Trik in Sanskrit is the sacrum. Okay, so very therapeutic for that area of the body. Draw your belly in, your bottom ribs in. Press your shoulder blades in and down. Okay, you don't have to look up. You can look where any place that's comfortable for your neck, but if you're going to look up, tuck your chin into the center of your chest first and then look up to your top thumb. We'll just take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Okay, one of the greatest hip opening poses that we have. Opens up the hamstrings, again, lower back, builds strength and balance. When you're ready, press to your back foot. Inhale, please come all the way up. Very nice. And you can bring your hands to your hips to take a break. You can always leave your arms out if you want more challenge. Bend your right knee, internally rotate, so both of your feet are parallel. Beautiful. And then left leg out, back toes in slightly. Make sure your heel to arch. Check that out first. And let's put a little micro bend in the front knee just for a moment. Draw your front sitting bone underneath you, thigh bone to back leg to hamstring. Okay, and then press the big toe. Inhale, slowly firm your front thigh. And once your leg is straight, inhale, arms out. Press your shoulder blades in. And then exhale, hinge slowly from your hip. Draw your front sit bone towards the back of your mat, hand down. Okay, you have a block. Good, arms in a straight line, tailbone in, thigh bone to back leg to hamstring. These are beautiful poses. Actually, Casey, I'm going to say move your block back just a little bit more. And is it more comfortable if it's lower, or did you like it higher? Yeah. Sometimes one side's more open than the other, and if that's the case, acknowledge that. You might raise the block, you might lower the block, you might get rid of the block. I know one side on my body's a lot tighter. So you always listen to your body in that way. Good. So remember, you don't have to look up, but if you want to look up, chin to chest and then look up. Soften your shoulders away from your ears any amount, and anytime you can remember to do so, check in with your breath. Ujjayi breath, in and out through your nose. Great. And then press to your back foot, like you to inhale and come all the way up. Okay, bring your hands to your hips, parallel your feet. Okay, take a deep inhale, fingertips together, and then you'll exhale and step your feet back together. Good. Okay, so blocks can come now towards the front of your mat. You can have them shoulder width apart right towards the front of you. Or actually the front being this way, sorry. Right here, sorry, you guys, like that's facing this way. Perfect. Mm-hmm. And then come back standing Tadasana. Okay. Fingertips together. Inhale, step your feet wide apart. Bring your hands to your hips. Okay, and firm your thighs. So again, the stance can be a little broader, a little wider if you have tight hamstrings. If you're very flexible, like Lauren is, I'd actually say shorten your stance a little bit. It gives more challenge. Okay. Hamstrings and quads draw up. Okay, keeping your hands to your hips, you're going to widen your collarbones, draw your chin to your chest, and take a deep inhale, lift navel to sternum, heart to the ceiling. Then exhale, slowly hinge forward, and you're going to place your hands down on your blocks or on the floor. So Lauren, you can go for the floor if you want, but okay, so let's have you have your hands on the blocks just to kind of show. You can have them on the low level if you like. Perfect. So just bring for a moment your fingertips in line with your toes. So bring your hands back just a little bit. Good. And then from here, inhale, draw your chest forward, look forward. And then exhale, you're going to bend your elbows towards the rear of your body and let your head drop. Walk your hands back so that you have a 90-degree angle between your upper arm and your lower arm. So if you need to move your blocks back, you will. Or if you need to move your hands back, you will. Good, and letting your head release, draw your hamstrings and quads away from your knees. This is a really great pose to help to open up the hamstrings, to help the body find some balance. Anytime we put the head below the heart, we're in an inversion, which is beneficial for all systems. Great. When you're ready, inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, hands to hips. Broaden your collarbones. You can bend your knees a little bit in the transition if you need to. Inhale, come all the way up. Good. And then fingertips together. You'll exhale and step your feet back together. Perfect. Okay. Now, blocks towards the top of your mat, towards the front, meaning facing towards the beach. And we'll stand at the top of the mat. Okay. And you can bring here, right at the top of the mat, you can either bring your feet together or you can bring your feet hips distance apart. If you choose to have your feet hips distance apart, okay, I'd recommend that you check it out. Make sure your second toe lines up with the center of your heel. Actually, Laura, I'm going to have you bring your feet completely together if that's comfortable. And bring your heels together as well. Perfect. Good. Now, when you're ready, you're going to move more weight to your heels. You're going to inhale, bend your knees, sink your hips so you're in chair pose, Utkatasana. This is a great pose. So I'm just going to have one way you can work the pose. I'm going to have Lauren do it, is just to bring your hands to your hips. So if you feel like you're still needing to build some core strength or strengthen your back muscles, just have your hands to your hips. Otherwise, weight towards your heels. Knees will track with your second toes. You're going to use your inhale to lengthen from navel to sternum, shoulder blades pressing in. Your exhale, you'll draw your abdominal muscles in. Beautiful pose. So steady breath, triceps towards your face. One more deep inhale here. And then you're going to exhale, fold forward over your legs. Okay, now here you can have your hands either on the blocks or on the floor. Inhale, draw your chest forward. Bend your knees. You're going to step your right foot back and then your left foot back so you're in plank pose. Beautiful. Now from here, take a deep inhale and exhale, press back to downward facing dog or reach with your inner legs. Okay, you can stay on your tippy toes just for a moment. Bend your knees. Inhale, draw your sits bones up to the sky. Good. And then thigh bones will press towards the back of the room. Let your inner thighs roll back in space. And maybe starting to release your heels down to the ground. So having the blocks actually gives you a little bit of lift if you have tight hamstrings, okay? But you don't have to use the blocks. If you feel that you don't need them, you can always remove them. And take 3 or 4 breaths here. Bring your feet a little wider. Okay, good. Yeah, so generally feet hips distance apart here, but again, you can always have wider stances in any forward bend if your hamstrings are tight. Take a deep inhale. And then you're going to come to a child's pose for a moment, toes together, knees apart. Just take a break. So do you all feel like you built a little heat just from doing those standing poses? Yeah, so because even though we didn't do a long practice, because our largest muscle groups are in the legs, just doing a few of these standing poses is a really excellent way to build some heat. Build some heat, some strength in the entire body. Okay. So when you're ready, you're going to come up to a table position, hands shoulder width apart. Okay, directly underneath your shoulders, knees, hips distance apart. Spread your fingers really well. Take an inhale, draw your chest forward. Curl your toes under, and exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Good. Yeah, Lauren's going to go ahead and use the blocks. Okay, inhale, lift your right leg from your inner thigh, spread your toes. Okay, and then exhale, bring your right foot to the inside of your right hand. You might broaden the blocks a little bit if you need to. Okay, make sure your knees over your ankle, tracking with your second toe. Walk your right foot to the right a little bit, Lauren. Good. You're going to drop your back knee on the ground. And when you're ready, inhale, raise your torso up and bring your hands to your hips just for a moment. Good. So this is a low lunge. Now there's 2 variations you can take. Back foot, toes you can keep curled under, which is very stable and also will stretch the sole of your foot. Or you can have your back foot on the ground actually as well. If you have knee injuries, my understanding, because I don't actually have any injury, my understanding is it's better to have your toes uncurled if you feel any tension in your knees. Okay, when you're ready, if you're ready, arms can come up. Okay. I want you to just gently draw the sides of your hips in. Let your right sit bone draw down. Feel your tailbone firm into your body. And again, it's never necessary to look up, but if you want to, triceps towards your face. Maybe touch palms, gaze between your thumbs. Great. Exhale, hands down under your shoulders. Okay. Curl your back toes under. Inhale, lift your back leg. Okay. Pause for your exhale. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, back to plank. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Okay, so next inhale, lift your left leg from your inner thigh. Spread your toes, please. Exhale, bring your left foot to the inside of your left hand. Make sure your knee's right over your ankle and tracking with your second toe. Once you've got that alignment, please drop your back knee on the floor. So you can keep your back toes curled under or uncurl. Just do the same thing you did on the first side on the second side so you're even. When you're ready, inhale, lift your torso upright, crown of your head over the base of your spine, hands to hips. Okay, so you can physically with your left hand pull your left hip back and also down a bit, which is going to open up the psoas a bit more, hip flexors. Draw your navel to your spine, keep your collarbones broad. Good. And then when you're ready, arms up next to your ears. So you're strengthening your glutes, you are still strengthening your core, but the nice thing is you're opening up your hip flexors, your psoas, which can get really tight if you sit at a desk, if you drive a lot, okay, even running, doing a lot of different sports. This is a really great hip opener in the sagittal plane or the front to back plane of the body. Okay, 2 more breaths. Maybe next inhale, touching your palms, gazing between your thumbs. Very nice. Exhale, hands down into your shoulders, please. Curl your back toes under. Inhale, lift your back leg. You're going to pause for your exhale. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Next, inhale back to plank. Great. Exhale back to downward facing dog, please. Just take about 3 or 4 breaths here. Firm your hamstrings, your quads away from your knees. It's like you're lifting your entire leg, energizing your leg. Great. And then just go ahead and come to your knees. Please go ahead and sit back onto your heels. I'm going to move the blocks out of the way. Just make sure you have your strap handy. You're going to make your way onto your backs. Might be welcome at this point. Coming onto your backs. Have your knees bent and your feet on the floor, hips distance apart. Great. Okay, so one of my favorite, it's very basic, but it's actually one of the best poses for the hips, hamstrings. Okay, very therapeutic for the lower back. It's called Supta Padangusthasana. So I'm going to have you take your strap and place your strap around your right foot where your heel and your arch meet. Okay. Bring your right leg up towards the ceiling, a 90-degree angle from your torso. Okay, and extend your left leg straight on the floor. Have each of your end of your strap in each hand. You can see that Casey went ahead and wrapped. That can be a nice idea. I think it helps you relax your shoulders a little bit, which is important. You don't want to feel like you're, holding onto your strap for dear life. So give yourselves a little relaxation in your shoulders. Okay, and just for a moment, put a little micro bend in your right knee, and I'd like you to feel that you're going to pull your right hip forward, just like we did in tree, so that your right hip is lengthening, okay? Now slowly start to straighten your leg, lengthen your calf to your heel. Let the inner thigh of your straight leg on the floor roll to the center line of your body, and just breathe. Some of you might feel this a lot in your hamstrings. Some of you might not feel it so much. Know that it's even working in a really passive way. It's helping the stabilizers of your hip to really just relax and release. Okay, so it's very relaxing for deep in your hip socket. Okay, now you're going to bring both ends of your strap in your right hand. You're going to bring your left hand onto your left thigh and root your left thigh to the ground. Inhale, bring your right leg over and out towards your right shoulder, as far as you can without letting your left hip and thigh come off of the ground. That's the trick there. So I'm actually going to root her down. If you have somebody to root you down, maybe your cat or your dog. You can always just root this leg down. Widen your collarbones. This is a great stretch for the inner thigh, inner groin area, inner hips. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Bring both ends of your strap now in your left hand. This is one of my favorites. Okay, right hand's gonna come to the crease of your hip and your thigh. Have your thumb, go like right into that crease. Have your thumb towards your pelvis, your fingertips toward your glutes. Pull your hip forward. Yes, okay, now keep your left leg just as it is. Take an inhale. And just a couple of inches, I want you to bring your right leg at a diagonal towards your left shoulder. Do you feel a stretch? You feel a stretch? Okay, good. If you can think about what you're doing for, lunch or for dinner, you might not be doing it properly. Sometimes I like to deepen it. Like I think for you, might maybe get a little bit more stretch. Going up a little bit more. Did that deepen it? Yeah. So if you're very bendy, go more to diagonal, and that'll help to deepen the stretch. Let's come forward and then up. Good. Inhale, come back to center, please. Bring both ends of your strap into both of your hands. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, lift your shoulder blades off the ground and bring your chin to your shin, shin to chin. So going into a hamstring stretch. Keep your foot flexed. We'll be here just for a few breaths. You can just let that left leg release on the floor for now. Okay, if you want to get just last little bit of ab work, lift your left leg off the floor just a tiny bit. Release your strap, bring your fingertips forward. Belly in. Good. And then release, lie back, and you're going to switch. You're going to bring your left foot into the strap and bring your right leg straight. Supta Padangustasana. And we're doing it here with the strap, which is a great modification. Even if you have pretty open hamstrings, it helps with especially that last variation. Your right leg straight, flex your foot, roll your inner thigh down. I'd like you just to put a little micro bend in your left knee and pull your left hip forward in space. And when your next exhale arrives, slowly straighten your leg by lengthening calf to heel. Toes towards your face, heel to the ceiling. Okay, and breathing, just breathing in and out through your nose. Bring now both ends of your strap in your left hand. Bring your right hand onto your right thigh. Root your right thigh down. Inhale, bring your leg over and out towards your left shoulder, please. And keep your collarbones wide. Really press your shoulder blades into your chest. Good. I'm just going to root you down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, even if you're just any kind of athletics that you do, like whether you're playing any sports or swimming, any surfing, this is a great one to add into your daily routine. Really good for your back. And now come back to center. Bring both ends of your strap in your right hand. Bring your left hand to the crease of your hip and thigh. Pull your hip forward. And then bring your leg across just a couple of inches. Remember to go kind of towards a diagonal to deepen it. The more you flex your foot, the more powerful the stretch will be as well, meaning the toes will go towards your head. How's this feel? You feel it? Yeah, okay. It's a really deep one, really good hip opener. Okay, next inhale, please come back to center. Bring your strap into both of your hands. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, bring your chin to your shin, shin to your chin. Good, and lift your right leg off the ground just a little bit. Reach your fingertips forward. Good. And then go ahead and release. And I'd like you to release your strap and just hug your knees to your chest. Give yourselves a hug. Okay, and then preparing for Shavasana, just bring your legs straight out along the floor. Okay, if your lower back's tender, you can feel free to have your feet on the floor and let your knees drop together. Good. Otherwise, just legs out straight. Hands by your sides, palms up to the ceiling. Take a deep, full inhale. Pause your breath at the top. Deep, long exhale, release. Okay, so So you can, generally it's a really great idea to stay in Shavasana for at least 5 minutes. Okay, it's a great time to just turn off all of your technology, let go of any practices, any intentions, and just allow yourselves to receive the benefits of your practice. You receive the self-healing benefits of your own body. And start to come out of Shavasana, start to deepen your breath a bit. Maybe wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And take a really deep, full inhale. I'd like you to pause your breath at the top. And then through your mouth, deep exhale, let all of your breath go. Beautiful, knees to chest. I'd like you to bring your right arm overhead, roll over onto your right side. When you're ready, use your left hand to press up to a comfortable seated position. Meet here, hands at heart. Just allow your eyes to softly close. Just taking a moment to observe the benefits of your practice, the effects of your practice, or maybe a moment in gratitude for whatever comes to mind, whatever's in your heart. Namaste. Good. Thank you very much. Very grateful to have you all join us here at Venice Beach Yoga. We'll see you next time. Have a blessed and beautiful day. Namaste.